Back in the summer of 1987, there was a rest stop off Interstate 94 in northern Wisconsin. Nothing special, just vending machines, flickering lights, a long hallway leading to the restrooms. But the truckers all said the same thing: don't stop there after midnight. Most folks brushed it off, but one night, a young mechanic named Dale Mitchell ignored the warnings. He was driving home after a long shift, eyes heavy, radio humming with static. He pulled in to stretch his legs. As soon as he stepped inside the building, he felt it. That cold. Not the kind you get from air conditioning, no. This one climbs your spine like someone walking behind you. The hallway lights were buzzing. One light near the end flickered so fast it looked like someone was standing underneath it, shifting in and out of sight. Dale called out. No answer. He walked forward, slow, every footstep echoing twice, once from him, once from something a little farther behind. When he reached the restroom door, he heard a whisper. It was a girl's voice. Soft, close. Don't go in there. Dale spun around, but the hall was empty. Nothing but the flickering bulb, and something that looked like a shadow moving the wrong way across the tiles. He reached for the door anyway, and just as his hand touched the metal, the lights went out. All of them, pitch black, and from inches beside his ear, a breath he could feel. Run. And he did. He ran harder than he'd ever run before, stumbling into the night, keys shaking so badly he could barely unlock the truck. As he sped off, he looked back and saw a small figure standing in the doorway of the rest stop, her white dress fluttering, though there was no wind. The building lights flashed once, then everything went dark. Dale never stopped there again. And a few weeks later, that rest stop was shut down for renovations. But no one ever reopened it. People always ask me, so what happened after? What was the point of it all? Here's the part that makes the story satisfying. Dale, who never believed in ghosts before that night, filed a report. The sheriff didn't laugh. He didn't shrug it off. Instead, he showed Dale an old missing persons flyer. A girl, age 9, white dress, last seen at that same rest stop in 1979. And here's the part Dale never told anyone except the sheriff. When he got home that night, still shaking, he found something in the pocket of his work jacket, something he swore wasn't there before. A single restroom key from a highway rest stop. Tag number 94R17, the exact one that had been shut down. He never went back, and no one ever saw the girl again. But every trucker in northern Wisconsin still avoids that place after midnight. Because sometimes, warnings don't keep the living safe. They keep the unliving calm. A mechanic stops at a Wisconsin rest stop. He hears a ghostly warning from a girl who vanished years earlier. She saves his life by telling him not to enter the restroom, and he escapes with a key that should not exist anymore. That's the whole truth of it. Filed, August 19th, 1987. Dunn County Sheriff's Department. Case reference, 87-94R-17. This certifies that the account provided by witness Dale Mitchell regarding the abandoned rest stop on Interstate 94 was formally recorded and preserved as an unexplained incident. Physical evidence, restroom key 94R17, was logged and archived. No inconsistencies were found in the witness statement. Signed, Sheriff Halton Reeves. Seal, documented true account, 1987. So before the lights flicker, before the next story finds you, hit that subscribe button. Join the channel. Stay curious. And remember, the next tale might be the one you don't forget. You can almost smell the dust of the old highway when you hear this story, because unlike most ghost tales, this one begins with a girl who knew exactly what she was looking for. Her name was Mara Ellison, 17 years old, class of '86, a quiet type who loved photography more than people. Every weekend she'd wander the outskirts of Ridgeland, Texas, snapping old barns, empty roads, and rusted signs. But there was one place she never photographed: the abandoned Silverton Drive-In. It stood on the edge of town like a skeleton, screens torn, speakers dangling, the snack shack caved in. People said the drive-in shut down after a storm in '74. But the truth was, something else happened there, something no one talked about. And like all curious teenagers, the silence pulled Mara in stronger than the words ever could. One September evening, she grabbed her camera, hopped on her bike, and pedaled straight into the thick orange sunset. When she reached the drive-in, the wind was dead still. Not a single weed moved. Even the bugs were silent, like the world itself was holding its breath. Mara lifted her camera. She took photos of the rusted screen, the ticket booth, the cracked pavement where families once watched movies under the stars. Then she saw him, a boy standing near the snack shack, hair covering his eyes, clothes soaked like he had just walked out of a lake. Mara lowered her camera. He smiled, too slowly. "Do you want to see the last show?" he asked. Before she could answer, every speaker pole in the lot crackled to life. Static hissed. Then music, old, warped, the kind you'd hear in a broken jukebox. Mara froze as the boy stepped backward, disappearing into the dark doorway of the shack. A second later, the drive-in screen flickered on. White light, ghost-like, impossible. The place didn't even have power anymore. On the screen, Mara saw a car parked alone. A woman inside, crying. The boy, the same boy she'd just seen, banging on the window, trying to get out of the trunk behind her. The woman drove off the lot. The boy vanished from the film. The car sped away into the dark, and the screen went black. Mara ran. She didn't even grab her bike. She sprinted down Silverton Road until her lungs burned. But when she reached her house, something hit her, a weight tugging her pocket. She reached in and pulled out a soaked movie ticket, one she had never bought, stamped with the date, July 12th, 1974, Admit 1. The satisfying part of this story is what happened after. Mara took the ticket to her grandfather, who had lived in Ridgeland long enough to remember what the town tried to forget. He stared at the soggy slip of paper for a long, long time. Then he said, "I know who that boy is." In 1974, a woman named Joanne Walker left the drive-in late at night. Her son, Evan, was supposed to be asleep in the back seat. But when she got home, the boy was nowhere. Police searched everywhere: woods, farms, the drive-in itself. Nothing. Joanne insisted she had heard banging from the trunk during the drive home, but she was too frightened to stop. The guilt stayed with her until the day she died. Mara's grandfather held her hand and said, "That boy, he's been showing that last night to anyone brave or foolish enough to enter the drive-in. He doesn't want revenge. He wants someone to witness the truth." Mara didn't sleep that night. But she did do one thing. She returned to the drive-in at dawn
and placed the wet ticket on the ground beneath the old screen. The speakers crackled once, soft like a, and then the lot fell completely silent. For the first time in decades. They closed the place for good a week later. But Mara developed her photos, and in every picture, the drive-in was empty, except for one. The one she took before the boy ever spoke. And in that photo, clear as sunlight, he's standing behind her, smiling softly, as if thanking her. A teen photographer explores an abandoned drive-in. She sees a ghostly boy and watches the truth of his disappearance play on the dead movie screen. She brings closure by returning the ticket from the night he vanished. The drive-in finally rests. Filed October 2nd, 1986, Ridgeland County Records Office. Document 86SD41, Silverton Drive-In Incident. Signed, Deputy Clerk Raymond Holt. Seal, True Account, Historical Archive, 1986.
If you've ever driven through upstate New York in late autumn, you know the feeling. The air gets sharper, the trees turn brittle, and the world feels one cold breeze away from revealing something you're not supposed to see. This story begins there, in 1983, with a boy named Elliot Rourke, age 15. Quiet kid, kept to himself. Loved fixing broken electronics, radios, Walkmans, whatever he could get his hands on. One afternoon, he was rummaging through a junkyard outside town when he found something strange buried beneath a pile of crushed bumpers. An old transistor radio, still humming. Not playing a station, not picking up static, just humming. A low, warm tone like someone breathing through the speakers. Elliot should have left it. But curiosity? Yeah, that's stronger than fear, especially when you're 15. He took it home, cleaned it up, replaced the batteries, and the moment it powered on, the radio spoke. A soft girl's voice. "Hello? Can someone hear me?" Elliot froze. "Is anyone out there?" He leaned close. Who is this?" The voice cracked with relief. "My name is Lily. I'm lost. I've been lost for so long." Elliot asked where she was. All she said was, "In the dark, near the water." The radio cut out. That night, Elliot barely slept. Every few hours, the radio clicked itself on, and he'd hear Lily whispering, sometimes crying, sometimes begging him not to leave her. Each time, she described seeing a dim light far away, one she could never reach. The next day at school, Elliot told his science teacher, Mr. Callahan. The man's face drained of color as soon as he heard the name. He whispered, "Lily Turner disappeared in 1975. Her case was never solved." 8 years ago. Callahan warned him to stop using the radio, to throw it away if he could. But that night, Lily's voice came through clearer than ever. "Please, help me find home." The radio dial spun on its own, landing on 97.5 FM, a dead station. But instead of static, Elliot heard a sound he recognized instantly. The rushing of a river, the one that ran behind the abandoned mill on the edge of town. The girl whispered, "I'm here." And the radio went silent. Elliot grabbed a flashlight and ran. The closer he got to the river, the colder the air became, so cold it burned his lungs. And then he saw it. A faint
flickering light hovering near the water, exactly where the old mill walkway had collapsed years earlier. Elliot stepped closer, and the light moved toward him, almost curious. Then behind him, the radio, hanging from the strap on his shoulder, burst with Lily's voice one last time. "Thank you." A wave of warm air blew past him, like someone brushing his cheek in gratitude. The light shimmered, then faded. The next morning, the radio never worked again. Elliot took out the batteries. The humming was gone. And somehow, so was the cold. For weeks, Elliot wondered what had happened, until one evening his mother brought home a box from the town library, old local records they were clearing out. On top of the stack was a dusty manila folder labeled Turner, Lily, 1975. Inside was everything. Reports, search maps, even her photograph. But tucked between the pages was something that didn't belong. A small personal item sealed in plastic. A transistor radio battery, still marked with evidence tape, and below it, a note written in faded pen. Recovered from sight. Missing daughter believed lost near the mill. Light seen by search party. Case unresolved. Elliot stared at the photo of Lily. Same age as the voice he heard. Same softness. Same sadness. He closed the folder gently. Some stories end in justice. Others in truth. Lily's ended in peace. And Elliot? He never fixed that radio. He placed it on his shelf exactly as he found it. Every autumn, when the leaves start to turn, he swears the air in his room warms just a little, as if someone is passing by to say, "Thank you," all over again. A boy finds a humming radio in a junkyard. A girl's voice comes through. Lily, lost for years. The radio leads him to the river where she vanished. A warm, final presence appears, and the haunting ends. Elliot later discovers Lily's case file and realizes she was finally set free. Filed November 12, 1983. Harrington County Records Office. Document ID HC 83TR 457. Signed, Records Officer Michael Granger. Seal. True account. Archived 1983.
In 1982, the town of Langford, Ohio, had exactly that kind of quiet. And right in the center of it stood Marlowe High School, a brick building with too many windows and a reputation no teacher wanted to talk about. But the students knew, especially the seniors. Every one of them whispered the same warning: "Don't stay after dark, not on the 3rd floor." No one believed it more than Janet Price, a straight-A student, head of the yearbook club, and the type of girl who never bought into creepy stories. But one night, she stayed late, too late, laying out photos for the fall issue. When she finally looked up from her work, the hallway clock read 8:47 p.m., long after everyone else had gone home. Janet packed her bag, locked the yearbook room, and stepped into the empty hallway. Her footsteps echoed in a way they never did during the day, slow, hollow, like the building had grown bigger in the dark. When she reached the staircase, she froze. The 3rd floor lights were on. Nobody used the 3rd floor, not since the fire in 1971. Janet told herself
The janitor probably left them on. But then she heard something. Soft, dragged footsteps overhead. She swallowed. Hello? Silence. Then a girl's voice drifted down the stairwell. Is anyone there? Janet almost answered, but something in the voice stopped her. It was too calm, too steady, too close to her own. She started backing away, but the lights above her began flickering, popping on and off in rhythmic bursts, the way old film projectors used to stutter during reel changes. And then she heard it, the sound of a camera shutter. Not hers, not from any classroom, but from the third floor. Click, click, click. Janet took one terrified step up the stairs. Hello? Who's up there? A shadow moved at the top landing, small, feminine, holding something in her hands. Then the voice came again. Can you smile for me? The lights went out, total black. Janet didn't run, she bolted. Down the stairs, through the hall, out the front doors, sprinting into the cold night air until her legs gave out. And in her backpack, she found something that wasn't there before, a freshly printed Polaroid photo, still warm from development. A picture of her, standing on the third floor landing. And behind her, a girl holding a melted camera, her face half burned, half smiling. Janet had never gone upstairs, but the photo said otherwise. Janet didn't sleep that night. Instead, she showed the Polaroid to her mother. Her mother's face changed instantly, not with fear, with recognition. She whispered, "That's Cynthia Hale, the girl who died in the Marlow High fire, trapped on the third floor landing, camera in hand because she'd run up to save the yearbook archives before the flames spread." For years, students claimed they heard her pacing the third floor, taking photos, calling out for help. Everyone brushed it off. But now, Janet had proof. A photo no living person could have taken. The next morning, the school board locked the third floor permanently. New alarms were installed. Lights were removed. But the Polaroid? Janet kept it. And sometimes, when fall comes around and the air smells like old film developing, the image changes, just slightly. Cynthia's smile softens, as if she knows her story is finally being remembered the way she hoped. Through a picture, through a witness, through the truth she couldn't carry out of the fire. A student stays late at school. She hears footsteps and camera clicks from the burned third floor. A Polaroid appears in her backpack, of her on the third floor landing, with the ghost of a girl who died trying to save the yearbook photos. The school locks the floor for good. Filed, November 3rd, 1982. Langford Education Board Archives, document number MH82CYN. Signed, Superintendent Carol Brenner. Seal, verified incident. Archival record 1982.